All right. All right. Let's see here. All right. Trying to get this Zoom call started. All right. Let's see here. All right. Hold on, Baker. Hold on. Letting some people come in here. Load in. Load in. We got so much value coming today. Let me see. Trying to get the Zoom started so we can get this meeting going. There it is. Had too many cameras on. Too many cameras on, so let's see. And then just bring in my guest in here. And then we'll start the show. I think I got on the wrong link, but hopefully you can get the right link. But we're about to get this started. We are bringing on a special guest today to bring on some knowledge, help us learn a little bit more on what we need to do in terms of business. And also his story is very interesting. His story is actually very fascinating. That's why I wanted to bring him on here so he can tell his story. So, and just got him in the room right here. Baker, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Baker? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Yeah, my bad.
No,
I'm
it's
trying to do it on my laptop. I got stuff going on my laptop, but I'm here, man.
it's okay. It's okay. All right. Let me start the show. Here. One sec. All right.
I'm gonna step outside. I'm gonna be outside if you don't mind.
No problem, man. No problem. Just be somewhere where it's quiet, but then you're comfortable. That's all.
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm on my deck, so I'm chill.
All right. Let me see here. All right. You ready?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right. Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Invest in Your Future. I'm your host, Coach Kenny, CEO of Kirunda Group Corporation. I want to thank you guys for joining me for another episode on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, all the different streams. I appreciate you guys, tuning in and also bringing your questions. So always ask questions. We have the comments down below. If you listen to this later on in the podcast, please give us a like, give us a thumbs up, give us a 5-star rating on iTunes. We're always looking for those comments and questions, but also we love the appreciation also. Today, I want to bring on a special guest, like actually a good friend of mine. I've known him for a long time. His name is Baker. I want to make sure I get it right. How you pronounce it? Nkwanga. See, one of my good friends, but we've known each other for a long time, and his story is very interesting. So I want to bring him on and kind of give you guys a little story about him, and then also we could talk about the business he's in right now, because I think it's a fantastic redemption story in terms of how to go pretty much from zero to where he is now. So Baker, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, how you doing, everybody, man? My name is Baker Nkwanga. I'm a business owner. I used to live in Boston. Moved to Atlanta. Spent a few years, almost a decade in Atlanta. Came back up here. Realized this wasn't for me again. moved to Fort Lauderdale, and I met my fiance, and then the journey brought me back here to Boston. That means so. That's a little bit of my background. But as far as like I'll let Kenny ask the questions. I reveal the information that he wants to know.
Sure.
Share. I don't want to over reveal.
No, that's fine. Listen, I want to go as deep as you want to go, obviously as comfortable as you want to get. But I think your story is interesting because is it okay if we talk about you did some time?
I'm open book, because my past is what makes me.
Yeah, exactly. So tell us a little bit about what kind of trouble you got into and what kind of issues you got into in the beginning when you were younger.
So my family moved here when I was 12, and I moved in the same campus with Kenny.
Mm-hmm.
And we still have Ahmad. I don't know if his name was Ahmad. And one time, and my trouble started one evening when me, Kenny was playing, and Ahmad was playing around, and I threw a rock in the car, and everybody ran. And I got in trouble for that. But coming from Uganda, Africa, it's like, that's normal, just run and whatever. But I didn't know I was in America. Police got involved, but blah, blah. It wasn't a big deal. We paid for the window. But I made a crucial mistake, because growing up in Africa, you watch American TV, you call 911, the police comes. I'm like, how does the system work? So I called 911 and I hanged up. And I walked across the street, Burger King, to get something to eat. By the time I come back, the door was already knocked off of the apartment, because the time I was in there, maybe they dying or whatever. And that's when my legal situation started. From then on, the Department of Children's Services, whatever, got involved. Like, you're 12 years old, while you're home by yourself, So that's how I got into the system. And then I started going to group home, residential homes. At that time, I had so much anger. I didn't understand, like, I don't want, excuse my language, I didn't want to, what the hell y'all doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's going on? It's not a big thing. Like, my mom is good. She got to work, she got to support, but not knowing the American system of work, she wasn't supposed to do that. So I ended up in group home, juvenile homes. And then I started displaying my anger in the wrong way. And I started getting into fights, and then ended up in going to juvenile jail. And then from going to juvenile jail, that led me going to like regular jail. Start catching different cases, gun charges, drug charges, and I think that's the one thing I don't like about my. I still hold it against my. I don't hold it against Massachusetts, because those are my actions, but it just drives me like, this is not a playground I want to be in. And that's a little bit of my little background. But I've been in and out of jail since I was like 13. The last time I was in jail was
in and out of jail since 13.
My last jail stint was in 2015. I was facing 5 years. I had to cash out my savings, pay my lawyer $50,000. He beat the felony charge. But the judge I had in that case, he already told me, like, I can't get you on this, but when you come back in my courtroom, you never see freedom again. So he gave me 60 days for leaving the scene by accident. You know what I'm saying? Let me give you a little background on that case. When I caught that case, I just moved back to Massachusetts. I come from Atlanta, where I'm used to living the Atlanta lifestyle. Guns in the car, bottles of Hennessy in the car. You know what I'm saying? So I try to live the lifestyle again, not knowing this is not a state to do that. So one night I went out, got into a confrontation with some dudes, came home, tried to get my gun to go back, and I crashed. And I left. My neighbors got involved. They called the police. They snitched. They came in the courtroom. There was witnesses. So they was trying to give me 5 years. They charged for 5 years minimum, 10 years maximum. So I got a lawyer, had a lawyer. They put me up. I paid $25,000 to get out of jail on a bond, but they said for me to get out of jail that day, supposed my bond, I had to wear an ankle bracelet. I had to take breathalyzers 2 times a day. I had to do daily drug charges.
I remember the ankle, because I remember we played basketball and you had the ankle brace. I remember that. So I mean, this is the story that I love, because this story comes from pretty much a lot of people's story. A lot of people a lot of people come from your situation, or maybe even worse, and then a lot of them don't end up where you are right now, which is a great story. That's why I want to talk about that, the way you came from. But now you went from like pretty much from the bottom. They call it from the mud. You came from the mud, you know, from drug to gun charges to jail to court to all that stuff, which is just mind-boggling. And also paying lawyers $50,000 just to help you with the case is mind-boggling also. But the fact that you went from there, now you started cleaning yourself up. I saw you started working at Target, right? Target and Starbucks, those kind of jobs.
I think what's funny is, like, I never had a job for more than a year. You know what I mean? Because the reason is I got this self-employment attitude, right? So as soon as I get a job, I'm like, you pay me this to be here, but how much is it costing me? Like, you know about the cost of opportunity, right?
Of course, opportunity cost.
You pay me $50,000, but how much could I be making if I'm not here? Or can I make this $50,000 and make extra on the side?
Exactly.
So my mentality was like, okay, I don't want to be a long-time employee. I get a job to fix my situation and go do my own thing, right? So I've been through, my career ranges from being an assistant manager for the first Starbucks in Waltham, being a sales manager at the downtown Waltham, being a consultant at staff management, going to Target. I did a stint for a lot of jobs, becoming an operations manager. But all this time, none of those jobs lasted for long. You know what I mean? Because I never had that worker's mentality. You know what I mean? So I came up here, and all this time I had ideas. All this time I had businesses. I had a auto auction license. And I've been dipping another real estate for a long time. Since 2006, when I was doing no doc loans, right? But in 2006, I was buying 5 houses a month. So you could buy a house, you could close on a house today, you could close tomorrow. The first house will not be on your credit. You know what I mean? So you could tell a broker, I don't got no house. So I did a lot of funny stuff back in, who did it, right? 2006, no doc loans. People tell a loan officer, I make $200,000. Okay, he's the loan, and they catching you back at $25,000 check at closing. Wow. So I've been in and out of real estate, but with my legal trouble, I would never sustain my success. When I went to jail for 15 months, 2008 in Atlanta for a gun charge, getting into a shootout, and I had 8 properties at that time. When I came out, I was only able to save 1 because I'm in jail. I cannot flip, I cannot sell this, I cannot take the refinance, take home equity out. So my journeys have been different, but never been a worker's mentality. I had to get the job just because maybe the revenue's not coming through my hustles or my whatever I'm doing, so I go get a job. But my goal is not to stay there for a long time.
So yeah, so you had the entrepreneur mindset, the entrepreneur kind of head the whole time, and that's why we even came on the podcast, because you have the wealth of knowledge in terms of where you came from, but then also you got into housing, like obviously in 2006, like you said, 2007, right before the crazy bust. And you had 8 houses, like good rentals. You said you had rentals, but now how did you start transitioning into your own business right now, the business that you're in right now?
So what I've been growing up, always people around me always say, man, Baker, man, you're a smart guy, you got a lot of potential, you know what I'm saying? But I hear that, but I'm like, how do I exhibit like potential? How do I work on a potential? So I always been a numbers guy. I ain't got no problem going on. I read a lot of books, you know what I mean? So I do a lot of research. I mean, I spend 80% of my phone, 80% of my day on my phone reading on CNBC, Wall Street Journal. I read a lot of like business journals, right? Business news. So I get a different idea. So I'm like, how can I make money while I'm sleeping or where I'm away? So I started thinking about different ideas. I did a ship drop into Africa. When you're in Africa, you can shop here. I can ship your stuff to you in Africa. I'm like, oh, that's a lot of headache. I got to deal with too many people. I'm like, okay, what's one thing that every business needs? And I'm like, okay, business credit. All right. So I did my research on business credit. So when I did my research on business, how can I do it in a different way? So I came up with this idea. I developed a software. So right now, if you go on my website, 2020 Enterprise Group LLC, you can see my website and what we offer, services offer. So I came up with a business there where I will help people, because I was being able to fix personal credit, right? So a lot of personal credit. When I tell people, there's nothing I'm gonna do for your personal credit that you cannot do for yourself. Just like you can change your own oil change, right? But you choose to go to a dealership to get your oil change changed for convenience, cost of your time, and for two, because that's what they do for a living. There's no different loopholes you don't know, right? So I tell people, you can't do personal credit. I could do it. I could help you out, but I'm not doing nothing crazy that you can't do for yourself. You just pay me for my expertise. So I took the same attitude and put it into business credit. So a lot of people I've been in jail. You get you locked up like 1,500. Everybody, right? So you ready, find out what the time. Tell me you make this kind of rules on the street, but your bond is 10,000, you can't get out. You know what I'm saying? So being through those situations kind of helped me cipher through the BS. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So when I come out, I decided, okay, business credit, what it is. So now what I do right now, I help business owners or anybody who got a business idea, go from starting up an LLC, an Corp, 503C, and which is a nonprofit. I'm saying I could help you get through all that, but I could also take it to another level. I could get your EIN number. Get your Dun & Bradstreet number, which is going to be attached to your PEDEX score, right? Dun & Bradstreet will give you a PEDEX score, which is a credit score for a business, which is not like a personal credit. Personal credit, you could go from 350 to 850, depending what, if you're looking at FICO score, if you're looking at the Isaac score. So different bureaus calculate your personal credit is different. Personal credit is really like experienced business, Equifax business, and Dun & Bradstreet, and they use something called a PEDEX from 0 to 100. So a lot of people don't know that. So I'm like, okay. I had a conversation. Let me backtrack. I had a conversation. I was in Orlando last week. A friend of mine said, he's a plumber. He said, I got a lot of complaints. I go to a house to do a job, charge $500 to put in a new toilet. And customers say, you only spend a half an hour here. He told me, I tell customers, you don't pay me for how much time I spend here. You pay me for what I know. If you knew how to do it in 15 minutes, you would have paid me. So what I do for people is like, you're not paying me for what I know, because everything I know, I read about, you got resources to go. But I took my time and investment to learn about it, to know different loopholes and holes. So that's what you pay me for. So now I started doing business credit. I help you set up your corporation, LLC, S Corp, whatever entity you want.
Nice.
Get you your Dun & Bradstreet number, EIN number, and start getting your personal credit. I mean, your business credit. I mean, because a lot of people got businesses. They may go to a bank, get a loan, use a Social Security instead of EIN number. Of course, they got no business credit now. When you get the loan, let's say you got a $100,000 loan for sample, it's a personal guarantor. That $100,000 is messing up your income to debit ratio, your personal credit. Now, if you come across a good situation that you need your personal credit, now you got to think about $100,000 you call signpost, you're going to mess up your income to debit ratio, because most banks, they got a ratio they don't want you to go over. Your debit to income ratio, they don't want to go over 33 to 35%. You may find that 50 over 40%, but it's rare. It depends on the situation. So that's why I got into that, to educate my brothers, because all of us that's winning, everybody's going to win. I mean, but you're going to have to pay me for my services.
Definitely. No, hey, listen, everyone, it's business. It's the price of business, price of doing business, but also learning that, you can leverage knowledge. I mean, Baker went and got knowledgeable in a skill of business credit, of building business credit and personal credit. And now he's leveraging that skill to be able to make money for himself and his family. It's that simple. I mean, you guys can do the same exact thing he's doing. Built up a beautiful website. I checked it out. and now he has businesses that are looking to grow. So the way he works is he gets you everything. He lines you up for a business, and that business can start building credit, and that credit you could use it for future endeavors, whatever you want to do in terms of business or whatever you want to do in terms of growth or scale. He helps you grow because you can get now higher leverage in terms of the banks because he builds up your business and your personal credit. I think it's a beautiful business idea. That's why I brought him on here, because and you've worked with people and obviously businesses. What do you see the biggest mistakes people make with their credit? What's the biggest thing you see when people have bad credit? What's the biggest mistakes?
Personal credit or business credit?
Either one, both of them. Let's say one of each.
One of the mistakes I see, like, and it's part of it's lack of knowledge, right? So you cannot go to a bank, Citizens Bank or Eastern Bank, and say you want 100,000. I think we run into each other when I used to be at Eastern Bank, and I try to get you a loan, the express loan, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when I was in there, I was picking up knowledge. Okay, what's going on with this client? How come they got approved? They didn't get approved. So a lot of people, what I say is like, they start a business, right? And they register with the Secretary of State using a home address, right? So if I'm a loan officer, right? And I look up your company and I see it's maybe I'm gonna use my address, 43 Lakeview Terrace. I'm like, okay, that's not a commercial address. That's a business. That's a residential, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's automatically red flag. So it's gonna make me dig deeper into your profile, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people still using the cell phones on the business. It's okay to have your cell phone in business card, but make sure you got a 1-800 number. And I did a profile a couple weeks ago. I charged somebody $5,000 because he had 2 businesses, but he had no 1-800 number. Like, can I afford to pay $100,000? What 800 number? I'm like, dude, an 800 number is only $15. So I'm saying, but that would change your image, right? A lot of people still got a business address, home, residential addresses, right? Get a virtual office for $60. A virtual office is gonna change how your presentation, right?
Sure.
People are still using for example, let's say you got a domain name, but somebody in your situation could say Kirunda Group at Gmail. Okay, yeah, it's a business email, but it's not professional. Change your Gmail into KirundaGroup.com. So I'm saying, so small things like that, you know what I'm saying, really make a difference, right? Mm-hmm. And then that's on a business side. And on a personal credit, what I see a lot is like people don't know how to play. Like people say credit cards are bad. To me, they're not bad, because if you know what you're doing, you could live off the credit cards. You could use the white people money for free. Guess what? If you charge $1,000, pay it back before the 30 days. You don't gotta pay. They'll get tired of you because you're not paying no money. You know what I'm saying? Before the 30 days, they cut the check, pay the money before interest kicks in. Mm-hmm. Or you're gonna give them people right now the average interest rate of credit card 17%, charge $1,000. That's $170 you pay on Forbes. Why? Mm-hmm. So I'm saying, so you just gotta know how to play. You know what I'm saying? And then another thing was like, when you go out, don't be intensized. Open up a bank credit card. You're gonna get 30%. Okay, the 30%. But are you disciplined enough where you're gonna take that 30%? This gonna give you now, and then not try to pay interest back over a year. So there's a lot of factors I try to teach my clients.
Sure. No, those are great. Actually, he just gave me some advice myself. I gotta change my email. No, it's really, yeah. I think that's one of the most important parts. People don't know the knowledge, and so if you don't know anything, you're most likely going to make a lot of mistakes. So I think that's the best thing. You guys got to contact Baker and contact and use his services, because you can tell he knows his business and personal credit side. So Baker, in terms of real estate, I know, because I love, I'm a real estate guy. You do a special thing, which is you do a lot of creative financing. I want to talk a little bit about that too. You are very creative and you do some creative things. Could you talk a little bit about the land and how you get creative with it? The financing?
So, and that's why I don't like Massachusetts. Before I give you the answer, I'm gonna touch a little. I met somebody who'd be 20 years in jail, right? In downtown Boston, at a company called Strive. It's an organization, right? He told me, man, to really be successful anywhere, you gotta know your landscape. He said that Boston landscape, highly educated, right? It's healthcare, it's fintech, you know what I'm saying? And it's a white boys game. So you gotta find out how you fit in. You gotta learn those maneuvers, those corners, how to bypass them, right? So I learned them. Okay, how do I fit in, right? So I paid to go buy my first property. Let me say to buy my first property. Let me say a first-time home buyer, right? The average price is like $350, right? So now if you do 3%, 3.5% on FHA loan, you're still looking like over a little $10,000, and then add on closing costs, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm okay. Maybe I didn't have that then. I'm like, you know what? let me go where I know best. Florida and Georgia, where they got a lot of owner financing, right? I get there's a lot of owner financing, but the property is already like in 800,000, right? So you need the high money loan, the owner finance tell you need 15%. You still need like almost 120,000, right? You know what I'm saying? Unless you got that, you can't make the move. So I'm okay. Let me start off where I know in Atlanta we got a lot of owner financing. So what I did, I went online and found plots in places I know. So there's a deal I did 2 months ago in Florida on the West Coast. 40 minutes from Tampa, a town called Port Charlotte. I bought five lots at one time. I think all of them almost 4 acres. I was able to give them that 20%, which is like $20,000, and my payment is like $700 a month on those 5 lots. But those 5 lots I bought 2 months ago, one of them already double the price. I paid it for like $8,500. Right now it's almost like $17,000. So I'm saying I went through one of finance because I'm like, okay, I spend a lot. I like to eat out a lot. I like to shop. I'm like, okay, if I could cut back my lifestyle and save the money and look at it, something that's going to appreciate when I do that. And then, so I did that. And there's also a lot of things. Like I was talking to a friend today. I'm like, yo, I got 30,000. Come up with 30,000. There's I could get a high money loan in Puerto Rico to develop the land, but it's scam. What's a high money loan? So that people don't know now how about high money loan. You know what I'm saying? That's another avenue people can go through. It's expensive, but the point of high money loan is they're trying to make you make that deal work out. Like you gotta be quick. You gotta exit that plane. But they're not charging the bank rate. They're charging 10-15%. So to go that route, you better have a plan for the property. If you buy a fixer upper, you better know how much it's gonna cost, how long it's gonna take you to fix and flip. Because the high money, 15% is no joke. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you're doing like hundreds of thousands of dollars. 15% of $300,000, that's $45,000. So now you tell me you want to pay that back to the man, or you want to exit that plan as quick as possible, right? So there's also that. There's also another things read about something like now, because back in the days, to avoid PMI, you had to put down 20%, right? Yep. But right now, everything's going on. They got loans where you can put down 5% and avoid the PMI. So I'm saying, so it's all about doing your research. Sure. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, 5%. I'm like, okay. The list I knew was like 10% in Florida for condo. And said, but they got it's like a nationwide program. 5%, you ain't got to worry about the PMI. But PMI could be 1 or 2% of the sale price. That will add a couple $100,000 on your payment, right? So a lot of, and this comes to, you don't even got to be a real estate. Like you got to find something you're passionate about and study, and find out. And I'm passionate about real estate and personal credit and finance, and I studied. That's the way. That's the only way. That's the only way. There's no trick. I put up a post a couple weeks ago or a couple days ago that said, you don't make money on some secret information. There's no money in it. You actually have to put in the knowledge. And that's what Baker has done. Business credit, personal credit, and obviously real estate. I love the tactic of the owner financing with plots of land, and then you just sell off each land, but you pretty much have a very low payment, flip your money that way. That's a great way to start and also get into some money, because you're pretty much buying empty lots of land and you sell it to people who want to build their homes or maybe build a commercial building. But that's a great method to improve not just your financial situation, but also your business mind, and also your real estate mind, because you're learning all the different ways of handling the financing, handling the land itself, selling it off, sectioning it off, all those things, Baker. So I love that. I love that little business model you have right there. You said something about the land, and then when you buy the land, you don't know how to buy it. So I'm going to build a house on it, right? So there's I'm looking at a deal for 10 acres, 40 minutes in Newnan, Georgia, right? It's like half an hour, 45 minutes from downtown Atlanta. That land, I'm not going to build on it. I'm going to plant trees on it, pine. I'm like, that's a 10-year investment. You know what I'm saying? It's like you start harvesting pine, bamboo sticks. They're paying $10 per bamboo stick. You could put 1,000 trees per acre of bamboo on an acre. So if you got 10 acres, right? That's 10,000 bamboo sticks. 10,000 divided by 10. That's 100. You tell me, do the math. That's 100,000. Like you can't lose.
Yeah, that's also a viable way of long-term thinking. Long-term thinking, 10-year plan, but in 10 years you're gonna definitely secure that bag by cutting down that bamboo.
Secure that bag, sell that land, and the money you make off that bamboo stick, that's the money you go to the bank and say, I got my 20%. I want to develop a mini subdivision here. So you're not even coming out of pocket. You're coming out of pocket when you put that land on that low. You're paying $500,000 a month. And then when you get to the point where you got 20% equity, then you go to the bank and say, I want to refinance so you can get out of that 10% interest rate that owner finance is charging.
Wow, man. Great stuff, Baker. That's excellent. That's the best way to do it. Why not use the land itself to pay for its own subdivision that you could build on there and make some serious money off the single family sales? That's a nice play. I love that play. So actually, we're actually, I want to make sure I get as much knowledge as I can from you because I know you're a very smart guy. What would you say? If what's the number one habit that you've, let's say, used to go from where you were to where you are now? What's the number one habit that you'd say that's helped you become successful?
The people I surround myself with. And having a bigger vision. You know what I'm saying? Having a bigger vision.
Sure.
Having people around me who got a bigger vision, right? I cannot call you and talk about 100,000 and you feel like you're intimidated by talking about 100,000 because 100,000, I may not have in my bank account. 100,000 ain't nothing. Or I may have that in asset. I may not have it with crap. I got in asset, but that should not intimidate you. So I try to tell myself who challenge me mentally. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't hang around with friends who talking about let's go to the club, let's do this, let's do this. Nah, I'm talking. I hang around people like, look, I was driving by and I seen this property. It's on a quarter acre. We put expand, put an extra bathroom, make this that. So those are conversations I have with my friends. You know what I'm saying? So I surrounded myself. My circle is real tight. I kind of like had to change my attitude because I'm like when I was used to get into the legal trouble, I was hustling backwards. You know what I'm saying? For me to take, I still 50,000 is not the most I paid for a lawyer because I had an attempted murder charge in Florida where I paid 100,000. You know what I'm saying? But I had to get out of the situation. But this 50,000, I'm like, damn, like you've been through a lot. What the fuck is 50,000? That's a townhouse in Atlanta in 2015. You know what I'm saying? So I had to change the way I live. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, if I keep getting locked, I'm making moves and I keep getting locked, I'm hustling backwards.
Yes.
I mean, because one day in jail could change your life. I mean, you could be locked up on a Friday and on Thursday, your bills are due Friday. You don't get out until next Friday, and everything else come out. You ain't got nothing to do with it.
Exactly.
I had to change my attitude, how I approach people, how I carry myself. You know what I mean?
That's a great one. That's a great one. Circle of people, the circle around you actually really make you or break you. It's that simple. Great one. Let's go here. What's the most influential tool you use for your business right now?
Elaborate on that question a little bit.
I was gonna say, I mean, whatever tool. Is there a certain software you use? A certain, is it your cell phone? Is it your email? What's the number one tool you'd say is you use the most, or most important tool for you in your business that's helped you grow, or anything like that?
I said my phone.
Yeah.
I said my phone.
No.
I go access my emails. I access my business email, my Gmail, on my phone, and my phone builds relationships, right? Because now I'm not in the transaction business, right? So I got to I don't know if you're familiar with NFL. You remember somebody called Santana Moss, NFL receiver, used to play for Washington Redskins?
Yes.
His brother, I'm doing his business credit for him. He said, "You get me right. You got a gang of people behind you coming for you. They just want to see results." So I told him, "Look, I'm not treating you like a transaction. I'm trying to build that relationship." But they do real estate too. They just bought like 300 acres in Georgia by Savannah. So I'm trying to build a network of people like that, build relationships. So that's what my phone is most important.
Nice.
I mean, as far as like software, it's like I develop my own software, so where I do the business credit. So what I do is just log in as an administrator and see what's going on and just coach my team. I got loan officers, I got sales representatives, I got closers, I got a team of people that do my work and I just focus on the business, generate revenues on my business.
Nice. That's yeah. Cell phone's probably number one then, obviously. What's the most exciting project you're working on right now?
The most exciting project I'm working on right now is a few of them, man. There's a piece of a quarter acre, man. I think I sent it to you.
Yep, you did. Yep.
For 300,000. The comps are going for 800. So I'm scratching my head. I'm okay. 60,000 to hard money lender to secure the land because I already got the plot.
Mm-hmm.
If you know the hard money lender, the LTC loan to construction, the RV after repair values and all that. So you know those numbers. Like okay, I need like 80,000. I don't got access to it right now, but 80,000. If I have my team had 80,000, that's a $250,000 deal. Because they charge you like $1.15 to build a house. So if you pull, let me say another 300 plus a 325, you walk out with like 185. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's exciting about that. And I'm also working the 10 acres in Florida. You know what I mean? And
Nice.
then also in Georgia. So I got a lot of things going on, man. I mean, so
nice.
To me, I tell my friends, man, people myself, man, keep throwing dirt, keep throwing something on the wall until something sticks. You know what I mean? Because if you check one thing and that thing don't work out, now you wasted months and weeks of chasing that one thing. But if you could chase 3 different things, you know what I'm saying? At once, if you want things, you still winning. You still buying at 20%. You know what I mean? That's
excellent, man. Those sounds like some really good deals coming up. And actually, I did receive that deal, the one you sent about the land and stuff like that. It's very interesting. What would you say? And this is more on the humble side. What's the worst deal you've had, and what did you learn from it?
I bought some fucking land. Excuse my language. I bought some land in down the street from University of Florida. The football season is canceled. There's no people in the stadium, so I cannot do what I want to do. I was gonna put up 3 townhouses and sell my Airbnb because football is big in Florida. You like 30 minutes from University of Florida Stadium. I'm saying, but football got canceled. There's nothing else that's going on in Gainesville unless the football. So I'm like, I'm sitting like almost like a half an acre, almost an acre. I'm like, what am I gonna do? But you know what? They're not making no more land.
Sure.
They're not making no more land, so somebody's gonna want the land
eventually, right? Yeah.
I'm gonna put some Christmas tree, because guess what? There's a Christmas every year. So I'll grow Christmas trees on it. In 3 years, I'll harvest my Christmas trees and make somebody happy.
There you go. That's one thing. You always pivot. Always have kind of a backup plan. Yeah, always have pivot. And who, we're getting here near the end of the podcast, but I love the fact that you brought so much knowledge and so many gems. But who's would you say is your number one influence or mentor or a coach? Is anybody that out there that that you've really followed or read everything or maybe been on a call with? Anybody specific?
No, I just watch people in line. Like I watch you a lot. You're very active on LinkedIn. I watch you a lot. I love what you got going on.
Thank you.
But to me, it's not really somebody I met. It's just like a few of my friends. 2005. I was in Tallahassee, and a friend of mine told me, Baker, man, they call me Bleak, man, you're a smart dude, man, but you get around a lot of crazy dudes, that. And so let me take you somewhere to show you. We on the drive Carolina that time, like, yo, I'm strapped. I got a gun on me. We're like, no, we're not driving that. Leave it in that car. He's like, dude, leave that street life alone. I'll show you how to make the same street money legal way. So that conversation started in my head. I'm like, okay, I could go holler my man, get 100 on things, make this off that. But I was like, yo, if I flip a properly, I can make the same amount of money. I don't even got to worry about him robbing me, him coming back. So that's what changed my life. So I really don't got no mentor. I just watch, observe. Because when I try not to mimic everybody because everybody's story is different. So I'm saying, so I may see you closing a $2 million property, but I don't know the struggles or how you went through that, right? Unless we have that conversation, I'm like, oh, okay, that's it. So I take whatever advantages you had or whatever strategy you had, and I try to adjust in my situation. But my situation may be different, right? I may be overstretched out as far as like credit wise. I'm saying, but you may not. You know what I mean? So I just try to pick people's brain, and everybody's a mentor. Every for that whole conversation becomes a mentoring experience to me.
Sure.
So I don't say this is a mentor. Not if I have a conversation with you and I learned something from you, that conversation was a mentor conversation to me.
Sure, that's true. Actually, everyone is a mentor, and Abraham Lincoln said it too. He said you can learn a lot from everybody, even if it's not what to do. You can learn something from somebody. So that's great stuff. Baker, man, I appreciate you coming on the podcast. I mean, you brought so many knowledge, so many things. Where can people find you, and where can they connect with you? I mean, give us kind of where people can reach out to you.
Yeah, so you can reach out to me at Baker, BAKERN at 2020EGLC.com. That's my business website. I don't do a lot of social media because I'm an engaged dude. I don't got no time to be explaining why I'm on LinkedIn or why I'm on Instagram and all that stuff. So I don't do none of that crazy stuff.
Okay.
So I'm strictly my phone number, my 1-800 number is up there. My number is 1-800-959-1646. Or you can reach my cell phone 678-687-2007. If you're not, you could email me on my personal account, Nkwanga@gmail.com, or you could email me at BakerN@2020 EGLC.
Nice, great, man, great, definitely. And I'll put his links and everything in his information in the show notes, so you guys can reach out to him easily. Obviously, you can reach out to me if you want to get in contact with him. Also, Baker has an amazing story. Pretty much like coming. That's why I brought him on the podcast. Pretty much coming from the mud, from the bottom all the way up to buying properties, flipping land. I mean, he's done so many things in terms of business and linking with people. He talked about how he spends 80% of his day reading and planning and negotiating and managing his business. Talked about throwing darts on different things so you can see what works for you and what doesn't, and don't worry about failure because you're going to have to just keep going forward. talked about keeping your circle tight and small. So that way you focus and have good people around you that can always be mentoring you and always giving you some kind of knowledge and pushing you forward. And he's always talking about have a pivot also. You know, if something doesn't work, pivot, be able to ready move and stick and move, because that's what he's done with his life. Pretty much went from a bad path, which usually leads to death or jail. That's simple, to a pivot where he went to a whole different way. Now he's running his own businesses, has houses, has properties, has land, has businesses running for him and making him money. Baker, man, I want to say thank you for coming on the podcast. I appreciate you. It's going to be everywhere. You guys, please share and comment and like. We appreciate